We're now a family, and we have been a family before. It's good to see you again. Hello, 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 hello. So I have decided to put out some little kind of preview and contextualization videos, just to give you a little taste of what each of these songs on the new album is going to be like. So this first song, Mirror Prism, and that was a little preview that you just heard, is a song that I wrote in response to my very first experience with the sacred plant medicine ayahuasca. I had a friend, the friend who invited me, tasked me with a response. He said, create something, whatever it is, doesn't have to be words. So thank you, Lotus. Shout out to Lotus for that gift. And so what I did with this song is, in addition to documenting my own experience, I also sort of took insights from things I had learned during that whole weekend that we were in community together. But I want to back up a little bit and give you a little bit more context as to how I ended up there. So at the time that I did this was June of 2022. I was about 6 months out of my training in shamanic energy medicine from the Four Winds Society. So I was 6 months into this new life of being a shaman, and I was exploring what that is. I'm still exploring. I mean, I don't know that we ever find any fixed answers in life. But, a year ago I was in this really, so many things were happening in my life, and it was a very rich period of transformation. And in June of last year, I had been here in Brazil for about 3 months, and the opportunity arose to experience ayahuasca for the first time. And here's the thing that I think is important to also understand and contextualize. Our training that we received, they made it very clear that any of these sacred plant medicines are not actually required for you to achieve the same results of healing and the same results of establishing connections to your own spirit guides and ancestors. I think that as a matter of a question of ethics, it's important for them to establish that with us, and also for me to share that with you, because not everybody responds well to different plant medicines. And yet, of course, Alberto Vildo and Marcelo Lobos, the two directors of the Four Winds Society, they themselves talk openly about, many, many times that they've done ayahuasca. And so I don't want to make it seem like, it was because of this that everything opened for me, though I am very grateful for what it did. Because yes, it is true that we can achieve these things, but for the plant medicine to share things with us in such an intense and potent way, I feel is a really, just a very rich opportunity for which I'm deeply, deeply grateful. So the other thing that I think is also important to talk about with regard to this particular, my very first experience with the plant medicine, ayahuasca, those of you who've been following me for a while, you know that 4 times a year I do what I call my own nutritional reboot, and it's very loosely based on Alberto Vildo's Grow a New Body program, with my own kind of, adaptations to fit my life, my body, and, different things. And so when I did this particular ceremony, it was right after a 3-week period of basically doing a cleanse. And so my instrument was quite clean and quite pure. And oh my, the visions that came through were so exquisite. I remember feeling like I just wanted to stay there and see, and I didn't want it to go away, and it was so ephemeral, and I was just so grateful for the visions, and the experience was very intense. But I had been guided by many people, and I would also recommend this for you if you're considering doing an ayahuasca ceremony for the first time, is they recommend you go in with some sort of intention or some sort of, request to your spirit guides, to Great Spirit. And so I went in asking for a deeper connection to my ancestors, which has been, an ongoing process. And I also asked for my third eye to be opened up. And here's the funny thing about that. So what I have learned over the course of the last year is that different shamans have different skills, different shamans have different abilities, different shamans have different tendencies. And so while many of my classmates were talking about how, as soon as they would go into effectively this kind of tracking trance that we do, they would see, all sorts of detail, all sorts of entities, all sorts of energies, all sorts of things. And I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought my third eye was broken. I just was barely getting any information at all. However, what I've learned is that the way Spirit works with me, Spirit gives me exactly what I need and not a shred more. And I believe that the reason for that is I am a storyteller, and I tend to be a storyteller, and the stories we tell ourselves are not exactly the things that will help us heal. It's learning how to re-narrate a new story. And so I'll receive, just very brief glimpses or symbols, and then it's with my client that we sit together and we understand what do those symbols mean to them and how can that help them achieve whatever healing they're looking for. So the response, the very clear, direct response I got from Spirit when I asked, I want my third eye to open, was, you already have what you need. You already know what to do. Just go out and do it. And at first I was like, come on, man, throw me a bone. But I realized this is a lesson that they often teach us, and sometimes we have to keep learning, is that most of the time, for the kinds of deep healing that we do with shamanic energy medicine, whatever tools you need are usually right at your disposal. And oftentimes there are things that we just forget we have access to, or things that we forget we have, or things that are very mundane, especially the elements in the world. So it was a rather abrupt reminder, but a reminder that I'm grateful for, that we do have everything we need at our disposal. And the one thing my ancestors keep telling me, don't forget to sing. And so to be able to channel through these lessons and bits of wisdom that I have received through song is my gift to you. So I hope you enjoy it. See you soon.